You've probably seen the post. Someone loses 40 pounds on Ozempic and the comments go crazy. You're not losing fat, you're losing muscle. These drugs are wasting your body. You'll end up skinny and weak. And I get why that sounds believable. When a drug causes that much weight loss that fast, something about it feels like there has to be a catch. So today, we're going to figure out if there actually is one. Today's BS. GLP-1 drugs destroy your muscle. There's something real underneath this one, which is exactly what makes it confusing. Let's figure out what's actually true. Here's why this spreads so fast. People on these medications lose a lot of weight. We're talking 30, 40, sometimes 50 pounds. And when scientists measured what people were actually losing, it wasn't all fat. Some of it was lean mass. That got reported, headlines ran with it, fitness influencers amplified it. And some lean mass loss became, these drugs are eating your muscle. You can see how that happens. A real finding, a scary headline, and fear moves fast. But here's what got left out. Losing some lean mass when you lose a lot of weight, that's not an Ozempic problem. That's just how weight loss works. Here's what I mean. Your brain runs almost entirely on one thing, glucose, sugar basically. And when you're eating a lot less, your body still needs to keep the brain fed. The problem is that fat can't be converted directly into glucose. So your body pulls a small amount of muscle protein instead. It's not ideal, but it's normal. This happens on a calorie-restricted diet. It happens after weight loss surgery. It happens every single time someone loses significant weight through any method. GLP-1 drugs didn't discover a new problem. They just produced so much weight loss that the numbers looked alarming. And here's where the story gets genuinely interesting. When researchers look at the proportion of weight loss that comes from lean mass versus fat, GLP-1 drugs took roughly the same as regular dieting. The same. The reason the numbers scared people is simple. The medications produce so much total weight loss that even a normal proportion looks large in absolute terms. Lose 50 pounds, lose some lean mass. That sounds terrifying. But is 10 pounds of lean mass out of 50 pounds total unusual? No, that's completely normal for any significant weight loss. And here's something even more interesting. When researchers looked at what percentage of people's total body was lean mass after treatment, not the raw number, but the proportion, it often stayed the same. Sometimes it went up. Less weight overall, same proportion of muscle. That's not a disaster, that's weight loss working. But there's one more part of the story, and it's the part I find most interesting. Most of this muscle loss data comes from a body scan, a DEXA scan. And here's something most people don't know about DEXA scans. They don't actually measure muscle. They measure something called lean mass, which is everything that isn't fat. Muscle, organs, bones, water, your liver. And here's where it gets interesting. GLP-1 drugs happen to be very effective at reducing something called fatty liver disease. Fat that builds up inside the liver. It's extremely common in people with obesity, and it's a serious problem. When GLP-1 drugs clear that fat out, the liver shrinks a little, and the DEXA scan counts that as lean mass loss. So some of what's been reported in the headlines as muscle loss, it's your liver getting healthier. Funny how that part doesn't make it into the social media post. So is there any actual muscle loss? Yes, some. It's real, but it's less dramatic than the headlines suggest. And the muscle that stays, it tends to work better. Here's something worth knowing. People with obesity often have fat deposits sitting inside their muscle tissue. It doesn't look different from the outside, but it makes the muscle less efficient, like an engine running on dirty fuel. GLP-1 drugs seem to help clear some of that out. And the result, even if people have slightly less total muscle mass, their physical performance often improves. They move better, they feel stronger, because they're carrying 40 fewer pounds. That said, there are some real things worth paying attention to. I'm not going to tell you there's nothing to think about here. That would be its own kind of BS. 3 things are genuinely worth watching. Older adults. If you're already dealing with age-related muscle loss, and a lot of people are by their 60s and 70s, adding more lean mass reduction on top needs proper attention. The situation isn't the same for everyone. What happens when you stop? Weight tends to come back after people stop these medications. Whether muscle comes back at the same rate is still an open question. That's not a reason to panic, it's a reason to plan. And protein. GLP-1 drugs suppress your appetite significantly. That's the point. But if you're barely eating and most of what you're eating isn't protein, you're making this harder on yourself than it needs to be. Which brings us to what can you actually do? 3 things actually work here. Eat enough protein, roughly 1.2 grams per kilogram of your body weight. Spread that across the day. If the medication is reducing your appetite, protein still needs to show up. Do resistance training, not just walking, something that actually challenges your muscles. Weights, bands, bodyweight exercises. Resistance training sends your muscles a message: we still need you, stay. Tell your doctor you're thinking about this. Seriously, if protein and exercise haven't come up in your conversations about this medication, bring it up yourself. It matters. Lean mass loss on GLP-1 therapy is manageable. It's not inevitable. So, back to the comments. These drugs are wasting your body. Here's what's actually true. Some lean mass loss happens, yes, but it's normal for significant weight loss. It's not unique to GLP-1 drugs. Some of what gets reported as muscle loss is actually a healthier liver, and the body scan can't tell the difference. Physical performance usually improves because you're carrying less, and most of the risk is manageable if you're paying attention to what you eat and how you move. The internet took something real, stripped out all of the context, and made it a reason to panic. That's the actual BS here. Stay curious and question the hype.